step into the shadows of the UK's most eerie houses, where history and the supernatural collide. From restless spirits to strange occurrences, these mysterious homes are waiting to reveal their dark secrets. 1. Luibeilt Lodge. Nestled deep within the haunting Scottish Highlands, Luibeilt Lodge stands as a broken relic of a time long past. Hidden from the world by rugged hills and shadowed by ancient trees, the lodge was once a grand hunting retreat for wealthy Victorians. But beneath its faded beauty lies a dark and chilling history few dare to explore. In 1973, two climbers seeking shelter from a fierce storm stumbled upon the abandoned lodge. With no other buildings for miles, they decided to spend the night, unaware of the eerie presence that awaited them. As the evening drew in, the wind howled through the cracks in the lodge's decaying walls, and strange noises filled the air. At first, they dismissed them as the creaking of old timber, but soon the sounds became too deliberate to ignore. Heavy footsteps echoed from above, followed by something being dragged across the floor. When one of the men lit a candle, it was suddenly knocked from the table as though an invisible hand had swiped it away. Terrified, they tried to leave, but found the lodge seemed to stretch beyond its walls, with the landscape itself shifting and warping around them, as though the house itself was alive and refusing to let them go. The eerie feeling lingered long after they escaped. Decades later, graffiti appeared inside the lodge that read, "Haunted, never stay the night." Still, curious souls have dared to visit, only to leave with unshakable fear. Some believe the restless spirit of John McAlpine, a deer stalker who tragically took his own life here after a hunting accident, still roams the lodge, forever trapped in the place of his demise. Others argue the lodge itself has absorbed the sorrow and fear of its past, its very walls pulsing with a dark energy that feeds on the living. Nearby campers often report feeling watched and hearing footsteps circle their tents in the dead of night, the oppressive silence afterward leaving them uneasy. Luibeilt Lodge has earned its reputation as one of the most unsettling places in Scotland, where the past's ghostly inhabitants continue to linger. 2. Quay Cottage. Quay Cottage, with its whitewashed walls and tranquil views of the Cornish coast, looks like a peaceful retreat. Situated in the village of Mon Smith, it's adored for its charm, but beneath this idyllic appearance, a darker presence stirs, one that has haunted the house for centuries. The cottage's history goes back to the 18th century when it was first built. Locals speak of a woman dressed in black who appears on stormy nights, staring out of the window at the restless sea. She is always there, but never seems to be waiting for anything. Some say she was the wife of a fisherman who never returned from a perilous journey. Others whisper that she was a witch, cursed to roam the earth for eternity. Regardless of the version, she has become an undeniable part of the cottage's eerie atmosphere. Guests who brave the cottage often report strange occurrences, footsteps echoing on the stairs when no one is around, sudden cold chills that fill the rooms, and doors creaking open as though guided by invisible hands. In the 1990s, a couple staying in the cottage woke to a chilling sight, a soaking wet handprint on the inside of the bedroom window, despite the window being tightly shut all night. The handprint seemed to appear from nowhere, and no explanation could be found. Even locals are hesitant to go near the cottage after dark, crossing the street to avoid its presence. Children avoid playing in the garden, and neighbors speak in hushed tones when the subject is brought up. Some believe the woman is not merely a ghost from the past, but a restless spirit caught between worlds, searching for something long lost. Perhaps she's waiting for closure, or perhaps she is cursed to wander for eternity. No matter the cause, her presence lingers in the very soul of Quay Cottage, forever watching the sea. 3. Rock Cottage set along the calm and picturesque River Way. Rock Cottage appears to be the ideal retreat for peace and quiet. The idyllic location, surrounded by lush greenery and water, offers a serene atmosphere. Yet lurking beneath its tranquil surface is a tragic history that refuses to be forgotten. Rock Cottage is haunted by the spirit of a lockkeeper who tragically drowned in the river after a late night of work in the 1800s. His death was accidental, but some believe his spirit remains bound to the river and the cottage, reliving the fateful events that led to his drowning. Visitors often report strange occurrences. Footsteps echo through empty halls, and objects inexplicably move as though touched by an unseen force. One couple staying at the cottage heard the disturbing sound of water gurgling beneath their bed in the dead of night, as though someone was struggling, drowning beneath them. Even more unsettling are the sightings of a mysterious figure by the lock, often dressed in old-fashioned lockkeeper's clothes. The figure vanishes whenever approached, leaving only an eerie sense of abandonment in its wake. During the day, the cottage seems calm, but as dusk falls, it becomes a place of unease. The air grows heavy, and the atmosphere thickens as if the spirit of the lockkeeper is ever present, watching those who dare stay too long. The river itself seems to hold many secrets, and some believe that it is these very waters that trap the lockkeeper's spirit, forever bound to relive his last moments. The beauty of Rock Cottage cannot hide the weight of its haunted past. 4. Willow Cottage. Willow Cottage, nestled in the countryside of Yorkshire, appears as a quaint, ivy-covered retreat straight out of a Victorian novel. The picturesque setting suggests a peaceful sanctuary, but within its charming walls, there lies a tragic history that refuses to fade. The cottage was once the home of the Redford family, who lived there in the late 1800s. Their daughter Edith was known for her playful nature and curious spirit. One evening, she disappeared without a trace. Her parents searched the grounds, but the little girl was never found. To this day, the mystery of her disappearance remains unsolved. Since that fateful day, strange events have plagued Willow Cottage. Guests frequently hear the faint sound of a child's laughter echoing through the rooms, while toys that were once neatly placed in the attic are found moved or missing. One visitor reported waking in the middle of the night to feel small hands tugging at his blanket. When he looked around, there was no one there. Another guest discovered a message written on a fogged-up mirror. "I'm still here." Neighbors have also reported seeing a small figure in the upper window, staring out at the surrounding countryside. Despite the cottage's empty rooms, Edith's ghost seems to remain, her spirit bound to the house where she once lived. Some believe Edith was not taken willingly. Whispers of a hidden well on the property, sealed long ago, suggest there are still secrets buried beneath the earth. Despite the eerie atmosphere, Willow Cottage remains a popular spot for visitors, though few are willing to return after a night spent there. The presence of Edith's restless spirit lingers, forever watching and waiting. 5. Wesley Cottage. Wesley Cottage, the birthplace of John Wesley, founder of the Methodist Church, is a place of great historical and spiritual significance. But beyond its religious importance, the cottage is home to a haunting legacy that has persisted through the centuries. The Wesley family, including John Wesley's mother Susanna, recorded strange and disturbing events in their journals, events that cannot easily be explained. A ghost, referred to as Old Jeffrey, made its presence known in the house through loud knocking sounds, the movement of objects, and the heavy sound of footsteps late at night. Susanna Wesley herself spoke of hearing the sound of footsteps pacing beneath her bedroom floor, and the family often felt the disturbance of unexplained movements throughout the house. Even today, visitors to Wesley Cottage report hearing faint footsteps on the floorboards and feeling sudden, inexplicable chills in the air. Some believe that the spirit of old Geoffrey is still tied to the family cradle, where John Wesley once slept as a child. Those who spend the night in the cottage sometimes feel an invisible weight pressing down on their chest or experience an overwhelming sense of being watched. Despite its religious significance, Wesley Cottage serves as a reminder that some spirits are not easily at peace, no matter how deeply rooted in faith. The presence of old Geoffrey remains a part of the cottage's legacy, never fully vanishing. 6. Quay Cottage at Lover's Leap. Quay Cottage, nestled in a secluded valley in Devon, overlooks a cliff edge known as Lover's Leap. The tranquil views of the countryside are serene by day, but at night, the place becomes an unsettling sight. This small, secluded cottage is shrouded in chilling tales, some dating back hundreds of years. The legend of Quay Cottage is tied to a tragic story of a young couple who in the 18th century were desperately in love. The woman came from a wealthy family who disapproved of the match. Fleeing their disapproving families, the couple tragically fell to their deaths from the cliff, their bodies never recovered. Many believe their spirits now haunt the surrounding cliffs and the cottage itself. Visitors often claim to see the couple walking hand in hand near the edge of the cliff, only for them to vanish in a flash. The sounds of soft crying are said to fill the cottage at night, particularly in the rooms with windows that look out over the drop. One guest, staying in the cottage at dusk, recalls hearing whispered voices calling her name. Despite searching the dark corners of the house, she found no one. Some locals believe the spirits of the ill-fated lovers are unable to move on, eternally bound to the tragic spot where they perished. The curse of Lover's Leap seems to draw visitors into its sorrowful tale. The cottage, though popular, holds an eerie atmosphere. Those who spend the night often leave with a sense of dread, unsure whether the spirits of the lovers are watching them, waiting for another soul to join them. 7. The Cage, St. Osyth. The Cage, a small, unassuming building in the village of St. Osyth, Essex, stands as a grim reminder of the village's grim past. Built in the 16th century, it was originally a holding cell for women accused of witchcraft. Many of these women were unfairly imprisoned and often met a tragic fate, either through execution or after enduring horrific conditions in the tiny cell. The women imprisoned in the cage were often targeted for reasons as petty as their independence or the envy of local men. History tells of women left to die in their cells, or those taken to the stake as witches, their screams fading into the mist of time. Locals and visitors to the cage report eerie experiences, such as footsteps echoing in the empty rooms when no one is there. Many hear the soft sound of distant crying, originating from the very cell where these women were held captive. One night, a visitor to the cage felt a chilling gust of wind in an otherwise still room. As she investigated, she was met with a feeling of invisible hands brushing against her skin. Others have claimed to see shadowy figures moving through the kitchen door, only to vanish when approached. The spirits of these wronged women are believed to be trapped, unable to rest in peace. Though the cage is now a private residence, many who pass by still feel an unshakable heaviness in the air, the angry spirits of the past, watching, waiting for justice that may never come. 8. Old Rock Cottage. Old Rock Cottage, located on Malthouse Road in a quiet corner of rural England, seems peaceful and inviting at first glance. However, this quaint stone house hides a dark history linked to tragic events dating back to the English Civil War. In the 1600s, the area was a site of fierce battles between royalist and parliamentarian forces. Many soldiers perished in the fields surrounding Old Rock Cottage, their bodies left where they fell. Over time, the land was settled, and the cottage was built on the site of this bloodshed. It is no surprise, then, that the cottage is known for its eerie occurrences. Guests often report strange noises, including the sound of marching footsteps in the halls or a sudden chill that sweeps through the rooms despite no open windows. One visitor, sleeping in a bedroom facing the battlefield, was woken by the violent shaking of the bed. Terrified, they rushed to check the room, only to find it empty and still. There are also stories of mysterious shadows darting across the cottage's walls, figures that disappear when looked at directly. Some have even heard the distinct clinking of chainmail or the sounds of distant battle cries carried by the wind. Many believe the spirits of the fallen soldiers are trapped, unable to find rest in the place where they met their end. Old Rock Cottage remains a popular spot for those seeking tranquility, though those who stay there often leave with a palpable sense of unease, as if the spirits of the past are still watching them, waiting. 9. Vernon Cottage. Vernon Cottage, located on the picturesque Isle of Wight, is a charming Victorian house that overlooks the rolling hills and coastal beauty of the island. Yet, beneath its inviting exterior, it is a place steeped in sorrow and mystery. The story begins in the 19th century with the Vernon family, who lived in the cottage during the height of the British Empire. The family's life was shattered when their eldest son, Vernon, disappeared during a storm while out fishing. Despite numerous search parties, his body was never found, and the family was left in turmoil. The grief-stricken family never recovered from the loss, and it is believed that Vernon's restless spirit now haunts the cottage. Visitors to the property report hearing the sounds of footsteps running through the halls at night, followed by the faint splashing of water as if someone had jumped into the sea. One guest recalled feeling a presence in her room at night, an invisible force that tugged at her blanket as if trying to wake her. When she turned on the light, no one was there. Others have described seeing a figure, dressed in old-fashioned clothes, standing near the cliffs in the early hours of the morning. The figure is believed to be Vernon, eternally searching for his lost life, unable to accept his tragic fate. Though the Isle of Wight is a place of natural beauty and serenity, Vernon Cottage carries with it an undeniable sadness. The spirit of Vernon lingers, always waiting for a return that will never come. 10. Khn Cottage. Nestled in the wild and misty hills of Cornwall, Khn Cottage sits on the edge of a moorland, surrounded by ancient stone circles and folklore. This remote location is often enveloped in thick fog, lending an otherworldly atmosphere to the already eerie landscape. The cottage itself has become infamous for its association with the legend of the lost woman of Xenor. The story dates back to a time when a young woman in love with a local fisherman mysteriously disappeared. It is believed that she was lured into the mist by a spirit from the nearby stone circle, never to be seen again. Her disappearance became one of the many legends whispered around Khn Cottage, a tale of love and loss that refuses to fade. Visitors to Khn Cottage report hearing a woman's voice crying out in the distance, only to find no one when they venture outside to investigate. Others claim to have seen shadows flitting through the fog near the ancient stones, figures that vanish when approached. Inside the cottage, strange things also occur. One guest reported a sudden coldness in the air, followed by the sensation of someone brushing past them, though no one was there. It is said that the spirit of the lost woman still roams the moors, forever searching for her love, and her restless soul has taken refuge in the cottage. Despite the beauty of the surrounding landscape, those who stay in Khn Cottage often leave with a sense of lingering unease, as if something or someone is always watching from the mist. If you enjoyed these eerie tales, don't forget to like, subscribe to Creepy Experience, and share with friends who love a good thrill. Which haunted cottage would you dare to explore?